African American Experience Project is collecting oral histories, documents, and photos to capture and share Black history in Sacramento.
We first brought you this story on ABC 10 News at 6 p.m. This morning, we're going to dig a little bit deeper. ABC 10's Monica Coleman spoke with those participating in the project and shared their story. Monica.
Well, Bria, good morning. I went to Shiloh Baptist Church in Sacramento, which is the second oldest Black congregation on the West Coast. That's where I met three women whose stories will be a part of the African American Experience Project. The women share with me the challenges and the triumphs of Black people in Sacramento as early as the 1940s. Sitting in the pews of Shiloh Church, the oldest Black church in Sacramento, Princetta Perkins, Berenice Peeler, and Lois Brown shared with me their experiences of living in California during a time many Blacks were moving to the Golden State for better opportunities.
I thought the streets were going to be paved with gold.
Their stories and more are part of the African American Experience Project through the city, which goal is to preserve and protect places that have been overlooked in American history and represent centuries of African American activism, achievement, and resilience. Berenice tells the story of why her family sold the home they built to move to Sacramento.
At that time, having to walk to the back of the bus, naturally, my brothers were being tempted. The other race sitting up front would stick their legs out in the aisle and try and trip my brothers and make them fall.
Berenice Peeler and Lois Brown are sisters. They told me life was still difficult for Blacks in California. Brown versus Board, which desegregated schools, was delivered by the Supreme Court in 1954, but they experienced tension and racism still in Sacramento classrooms.
And they would take us to the parks sometimes. So when we went to William Land Park, the white kids brought their swimming suits and they could go swimming in the swimming pool. And we couldn't go swimming in the swimming pool.
Brown told her mother what was happening in school, who took her concerns to her father, who was a part of the NAACP at the time, and demanded that Black and white children have equal treatment.
Took them to court, and so they still refused to open up the swimming pool to, everyone. So they cemented it over rather than just open it up to everyone.
Oral history. Oftentimes the only way some African Americans are able to share their legacy. But these three ladies agree that they hope having their stories finally documented will help the next generation know their roots.
The fact that we as a people, that we have persevered, that in spite of that, and all the things that they tried to do to eradicate our race, that we are still here and we are persevering in spite of it all.
In spite of it all, indeed. The African American Experience Project is expected to be completed this summer. You can find more information on the release of the final draft on abc10.com.
Monica, I'm interested. What was going through your mind talking to those ladies?
Well, honestly, my grandmother is what sparked this conversation and what got me to do this story. She has often told me where we come from. She lives now in Bakersfield. We traveled here from Texas, and we were enslaved in Texas. So I thought, if my grandmother is telling me these oral history stories, there has to be other African American women who are doing the same with their families. And so when I met these three women, they truly reminded me of my own experience and my grandmother, and I was so excited to share their stories, and I hope other people at home can do the same.
Yeah, it's great history, and you can continue to learn from it. Monica, I'm glad you did that story. Thank you.